Agus tús cura leis a gluthe Canna semana ichta tsoid rudirí nach mána Kilkenny agus Tipperary sa legan hayan ghayan an lá a glana gadas agus Derek dul an on sin son Willie Ryan im hemach parisha de bline han hen crindíre go lá Parkinsa agus pok slasse e vegan agus snean moltoden so Dermot Kerwin an the voltoder fad mak the jury as dola harda e vegama an the histemedig der faded gudisa agus PJ Delaney chun an puck slasa a hogant seo he PJ me hi siar mas na gosan toidí nu vi sé mo lá Parkin lá dernach Cawn anna ada Stecha dro emol de Carnoige ach vi er stik se Carnoig mar sin puckach a vegan de Habradorn Jim
Garmaga de Bihil agus Bolch Webshire Freshen Rev Cork. Hello to everybody watching this minor game today as we look at the Kilkenny team. And this is a Kilkenny team that is built around the Kilkenny team that finished the semi-final against Galway. The changes made there on that occasion are considered to be successful, and so that's how Kilkenny line out their team today. There is a big change in the Tipperary team. We'll tell you about that in just a moment.
Tony's group at the Dalavachta, Buited, Agasar Lana, Amachatsa, again John Tennyson, Amach Goody, Temna Lavidish, Keep Nolan, Mehisal, Goody and Davison on board, Winterstach, Sarah Hishtik Sahuni, again Michael Bergen, Agas Poxair, Gnohe, again Kilkenny, Dish the Richie Powell. Mark Darno, the Richie Power, on Agus Anachadeen scorena, I'm Shihige, Gudisa, the Kilkenny. Shohe, Jeshigan Hit score all, Sahle, Canashansa, Winter, Anna Ishalagas, Sarah Steg again, Gould Boyd, Lantamach, Patrick McCormick, Joan Huine, Maravel, Michael Bergen, Koruk, Agus, Mehema, Harish Devlin, Puxnassa, the Habradon. Within Habrador agus Darno John Boland a gimmert at Hebna Live Edition, Neil Brendan O'Sullivan a gimmert agus Aharuele Dianta Coma, Neil on Farlar Porke, Dermot Corcoran a gimmert, agus Sinead on Idan, Mashida Brahara, Sahi Canashansa. On Farlar Porke, a Hoka Gesha, Michael Rice, Captain of Fortnite. Agus Alfevon on Ardoin, Wilta Anna Yassiga, Anna Skilu, Legas Fachtaga, Glotus and Eriga, David Kennedy, Mark Jahar, the John Darno, Agus Tammy Dial, Ahed Kleena, Ach Wilta Stachansa, Ega Michael Rice, the Jonah Carno, Ega, Agus Imihimu.
Yes, the big news for the All-Ireland Minor Hurling Final today is, of course, that John Boland, who was the subject of controversy in the build-up to this game, and who, of course, also is the subject of a court action, the Tipperary selectors have decided to start John Boland today at right half-back. And in another very interesting change, they brought Pat Short, one of their key forwards, to midfield right from the start of the game. So interesting tactics and interesting selection from a Tipperary point of view.
Agus Shahid Kilkenny, Alan Healy, Agus Poxair, Gnohige, Lashdig dan Lina, Kugveder agus Dahad. Gan een score full sound. Agus Maide Studenson, ahead on Vadora, Patrick McCormick, Shahe Paddy, William Edifechante, agus a Vaka Gimmer to stick a hole, Didich Marvich Shehenig, the Turles Sarsfields, Ach Shahe, Richie Powell, Barana Chrina Fad, Agus Deshiga. Inish bided and he had scored an Ardo Shenkanson, he Ardo Shenkano Hina, Tashisha Ardo Hige, and have the live edition of Agus Kuramu, Royesh Kuramu, I get Richie Gudisa. Martin, Vuelta Machige, Paddy McCormick, Joe, have the live edition, as Fachta Anna Yassiga, Conor O'Mahony, Aha, Selina Latusik, Maravi Jimera. Shahid Amachta Stachatsa, Francis Devaney. Went to get Francis, and as a kid score, they get Francis Devaney.
The first score has come after 4 minutes of play here in the minor final, the traditional curtain raiser, of course, to the big game on September Sundays like this. Minor, of course, is under 18 and all these young stars, they've come through their clubs and their schools, and of course because there are so many famous names, sons of and nephews here as well today. Well, it's a family interest that has been inculcated in the youngsters, and this is a great traditional feature of All-Ireland Day, the under-18 final. And here's Nicky Cashin, the manager of the Kilkenny team, who is associated, of course, with his own school. He's a teacher here in Kieran's College, one of the great nurseries of the game.
Agus Dinicason, Kieran Hine, gur Luishetson, Beggar Rehar John, Egimmert, Nisigani, Dus na Shinchid, Ach Shahe, Kieran, Is an Bokschlasse, Wiltige Dassige, Fast on the Podke, Agus Tachta Machanson, Michael Bergen, Ach an Vartianted, Emihewig, Agus Willie Ryan, Dirk Evanto, Mohalor Podke, Fentrosa, Agus Machtlischtach, Francis Devaney, Wiltistach John Huine, Agus Shahe Trevor Ivers, the Vienna Venur and Nidig, Harana Green, Trevor, and Nilig Giergama, Wiltige Das, Trasna, and Sonage, Goody Willie Ryan, Ach Winter the Willie, and Sonage, Kieran Hine, Machajo, Lord the Poitke, Richie Power, Agus, Emihewig, Coravarisige, Agus, a Will Tuxay around, Neil, Hannah Pacified, Agus Anna Ruhardian to get Richie Power, Agus Tuxay to the Hige, Bader and see about her, Benai Oakley Richie.
Nice running here by the Kilkenny man Richie Power, but there was a little chop down on him there, and the referee will speak sternly to Pat Short of Tipperary, who was due to play at right half forward, but he is in fact playing at midfield. And this is an opportunity now for Richard Power to get his eye in here. There's a yellow card indeed for Pat Short, the first of the game after only 6 minutes, as Richard Power stands over this free. He's missed 2 already, but this is the best opportunity he's got.
Chagas had Green Dida Galashli and Bautas Agazana Green about us on Kids goal again. Richie Power, the Hubradon. And Taishach Agus and Tuachtaran and Son. Agus and Corran Skila Aiden, the son of Hashid, a Koruk and Son, a lot of the Huede. And that Oak Shete and Son, they get Dermot Kerwin, Agus Puxair, the Hubradorn. Cook Vedergus Chief hit, no Martian, Amach, on goal. Willie Ryan, the Anna Green, Agus Anna Hummus, Agus Anna Va, and Lodger, Nuch, the Hubradorn, Saklohilla Canish. Og Wumi Vare, bounce, this the Sheen Shidige, Emery Cello, Bultige, Gus Bult Anava, Anna Hulinige, Willie Ryan.
Just a slight wind here in Croke Park today, but nothing of any great significance. It's just a fresh little breeze that the players won't object to really, otherwise it might just be a little bit humid, but it does not influence the flight of the ball or direction of the ball as far as either side are concerned.
Holland Grant, Buelta Machajo, Lorna Poitke, Agus Keith Nolan, Agurir and Unsi, Dimmer Sheshu the House, Homa, Saklohilla Canish, Agus Shahe, Cha Fitzpatrick, Buelta get Cha, Agus Buelta Gamahagan, Kiet Hulini get Cha Fitzpatrick.
Well, Cha Fitzpatrick is one of the scoring stars of Kilkenny's All-Ireland semi-final win. James Fitzpatrick, better known as Cha, he's from Ballyhale Shamrocks, a very famous club down in Kilkenny, the club of the Fennellys, one of the great hurling families of modern times.
Agus Scoilana Hollywood, Closh to Kieran Homa, Agus a Cosentitsa, Kieran Hine, Dienta Godasiga, Trust in the Podke, Michael Rice, Agurir and Unsi, Derek James Cha, went to Macharish, Dachamehema Harisha Devline, Puxlassa, the Michael Bergen. Minter die volley daar no, agus the wind kind of as gan it heen round 40 chuige inno. Minter goalie. Mach Harisha Devline het so, no well Neil, Conor O'Mahony and Vartiantige. Aan de Hongrucht en Devline agus wordt de stakkel Ashley, agus Shahe Francis Devaney for Shekulin o hienne, and Vaishan Tarna Kulin, Bultige Francis, Bultige Mahage agus Kupinte Everedo, Francis Devaney.
Now Kilkenny did have some problems in this championship filling the centre half-back position, and today they are finding again that they're just not marking tight enough, and Francis Devaney has escaped for 2 points. And of course viewers will have seen the Dooleys there, very famous hurlers from Offaly just a few minutes ago. They're from the parish of Clarine. The club there of course is Sir Kieran, one of the great Midlands clubs.
Richie Power, Bueltistach again, Owen Reid, I guess Harnashkadi Richie. Derek Machtestach, Dout, Anna Skilou, Anna Yassafat, Harnashkadi, Chaffetz Patrick, Achwintero, on Vachtian Tedigus, Quantumach Gadasson Son, Joe, Lord the Podke, Will, College Anna Raum and Son there, Evan Sweeney. Agus Beck Focal again Moltorlish, Beck Kinchur Alta.
It is unusual, of course, for yellow cards to be dished out to minors. Sometimes they have to be. There was one earlier on for Pat Short, but just there the referee was content that that was accidental and just over zestful really in the challenge.
Willie Ryan, Martian, Bulte Ige Willie, Ige Sanova Ige Willie, and Parna Point Ige Willie.
So a double scores position now. Tipperary leading by 2 points as we just come up to the 11th minute of this first half of the minor final. And William Ryan, of course, is from Tumivara, a very, very famous club. And not surprisingly, one of his role models is his clubmate, the great Tommy Dunn, who captained Tipperary to win the All-Ireland last year.
Agus hén choma gimmert leis na sínsir. Agus seohe, Willie Reish, Builtistach aige, Láshley. Gyda'r Edadalov, College diantar Keith Nolan, agus Foxair gnohu hige Keith, ta Keith Edadalov. Agus PJ Delaney, Hokwig Counter, PJ, a hosnig a lord podge, a lodger nachach, van Lacholi Lloyd, and so hinu, so Canish. We say shoot that the guidance sculling agus Minura Bahan again, a count Bultigish, Dacha Joe the Cardno again. Nordelo, agus Shahe, Pat Short. Mohalor Podge, agus and that diantar about this up. With the Roy but Edadalov Agoni, agus Planter Dediga, Willie Ryan. PJ Delaney, Mihavuig, Fachtiga, David Prendergast, Mark the Faddy, and own goody Chaffetz Patrick. Derek Nachter Ruher, Nachter Shistach, agus Edakid, Michael Bergen, a Chorda, agus Nisa Yakara Fos, Veded, Sticks a Huine, Panna Tevline, a Retrasna, and so, John Tennyson, agus Tony Scroop, Ledoid Mahachoma, agus Ardamani, Shahe Tony Machtestach, Tony Scroop from Mielavoid, and I don't lish, Cool Oil, no, no, Havoid, sticking a Colin Grant, Someone owned to Colin Grant, good he Kieran Hine, Anna Lana, good in Devil on board. Anna Anam Sahuela had the Huede, agus and I do it, like Kilkenny, Yannick, Anna Lana, the Foley, Bultet, Sonic, Shane Coonan, agus Colleen, Ganathranish, and Point of Oil.
Well, it so happens that a near miss at one end of the field can be a score at the other end of the field, and so it proved there because Tipperary were in a very dangerous position. But from the counter-attack, Kilkenny got a score. And here's the Tipperary boy coming through, Evan Sweeney, the right full forward. But the goalkeeper came out, Colin Grant. He was heroic there. He's from the Emeralds Club.
Marcin, Shahe, the cousin, the Hovradorn, John Boland, Builtiga Trasna the Podke, Michael Rice, Edadalo, agus Tachta Gauder, Stephen Maher, Shahe, Willie O'Dwyer, Vimar Lonta Sachalader, Nachasar Hanavahage, Francis Devaney, Francis Derek Tony Scroop behind shoe, Shahe Tony, Winterbo Hafahage, John Tennyson, agus Schlitter in the Edadalo, Scroop Reba, agus Reba Homa Hudson, Kieran Hine, Kahage Moltoid, Dermot Kervin, and Schlitter Stachatra. Schlitter Katistachage, PJ Delaney, Trasnagari Keith Nolan, Yerach Zoot Sarahe, Agashahe Francis Devaney, Anna Yeshach and Tatsa Mihimu, Noon Will. Trid Fos, Tatabra Darden, agus Tony Scroop, for Yanana Ruharo Hienev, Ach Wilte Lagi, Rachtig Tony and Balthasar.
Well, if I could make one observation here, viewers who will have seen the semi-finals will know that this game is a lot tighter today. It's not quite as free-flowing. We're not seeing the sweet moves that we saw in the semi-finals, and that is, of course, because there is so much at stake today that the marking inevitably is tighter. But viewers should also watch out for the skill that there is in defending and in tight marking.
On Willemach, me hechel fadale on Reid, agus Fitzpatrick. Die Register Hootlesh, ach der team politics on Vartiente de Corridaville, Pachtige Michael Bergen, Wantamach, with the Wayne Colley, Harris Law on the Podke, Agus a Machtestach, Willie Ryan, Vasco Pool, Wiltige Willie, and Vigan Radio Going, Holland Grant, Pachtige Dassiger, Agus Dish, again. Copper Darden, Dollar on Sea, Tax Short, Edian, Wiltige, Harris Drasnan, Agus Coulinelle, the Hopper Darden.
Well, the skill there that you saw was the skill of batting down the ball, so that one player, instead of attempting to go for the ball with his hand, will bat it down to a colleague who was well placed, and indeed Willie Ryan it was who snapped up the chance there and put it over the bar.
Willie Ryan if we're a point to Shinnigus and the Mia the Higge, the Hobra Darden, cousin PJ Delaney, Emhemach Harris de Evline, Agus Puckschnasse, the Kilkenny. Stephen Maher, a Hokwig counter. Oholach Rowan, Jehard the Chris, a Vika Gimmert van Widden, Fevlienigas Vehe, I get Kilkenny, Achtrakan Bueltige, Nunwell, Sarahe, I get David Morrissey, and that the intershoot again Michael Rice, Captain Kilkenny, College the inter Michael, and son, I get Wayne Colley, Agus Betfokol again Molto Wayne Colley.
The player fouled here is Michael Rice, just a little bit high as the hand went across there from Wayne Colley. Just a little bit confusing for everybody here today, and I'm sure for viewers too, is the amount of hurlers here who are wearing yellow helmets. Richard Power of Kilkenny is one, but Pat Short and Willie Ryan, they're both wearing yellow helmets, and as they both do a lot of scoring, it isn't easy always to just pick out individual players from each other.
Achshot Dinyakur, let's go at Bui, Agashne, Counson, Kuraharsha Trasnaga, Richie Power, Richie Power, Fitzpatrick, Agus Owen Reid, Bui get Kilkenny, Maravisharon, Pat Short, Evan Sweeney, Agus Willie Ryan, Bui get Tobladon. Fashion, Bui in the water, Hashas of Ash in the gym. Anna Counson, I get PJ Delaney, PJ, Cousin Guma, Hashal Audit. Lord the Podke, and Vartiente, and so I get David Morrissey. Stachan so good, Trevor Ivers, Parana Homasach Trevor, Corana Gas, Ayra Suit Sarahe, and Vakal, Anna Yener Fad, Agus, Jacket, Dolphin Keeney Yener, Agus, Kalish, Dentige, Wayne Colley, Eredalov, and Schnitter, Scooped and Dalov again, Marcin, Pucksayer, the Kilkenny.
One of the rules of the game, of course, that referees have to be strict on is picking the ball off the ground. You're simply not allowed to do it. Now, the Tipperary player thought he might just sneak it in there. That's just part of the tricks of the game, but the referee was right on the spot, so well done to the referee.
David Morrissey. Kongroften de Evline, Vachte Haldige, Michael Rice. Jere Kilkenny, Chorren on Sea. Achatachtamacht, David Kennedy. Garwacht and Robert Mann agus the Federation again of a headed. Marcin Pucksayer, the Kilkenny. Weine Studenson, Nicky Cashin, Agus and Bautasa, Willie Ryan, Nihe, Willie Hoekwigenecher, Richie Power. Deschige an score Chormo, Dide Klasmod and Lina Cook Veddergas Dahad. Shohe Richie, Wiltiga Dassiga, Wiltiga Mahage, Richie, Harris Drasnan.
So the sides are level after 19 minutes of play, and Richard Power's free taking now is right on song, and that's great news for all his family and all his fans down in Carrickshock, because they also have the full back, of course, John Tennyson here today, and Carrickshock Club on the rise again.
agus iad co-scored an díú bauta an sa chluhi canis gan mágáine atra Seo Kieran Hine Wiltige Joe Cha Fitzpatrick Cha Dirig Owen Reid a Reinshow agus fachtige Willie O'Dwyer ach Sarah Histige Dassenson ag Patrick McCormick Anna Boydewin Maklische meine Stuhl agus Seo Pat Short ach Sarah Higadasig David Prendergast Mac Faddy Why Shatan come on a Mihawig attack the Gaudit Keith Nolan Anna Countiga Keith Cha Fitzpatrick agus Michael Bergen Tana Choro Gatra Gadisa Abradorn a Derek Dollar in Unsea ach Sarah Harish to Keith Nolan while we share house a Chlohilla Canish that she gimmert Gama Anna Hoos Shehe Keith Stachat Sugadi Michael Rice a captain Count Moore father on captain ach the Goinin Ergish agus an trio count Cur Amu ag Kilkenny.
Well, here was a test of the agility and the nerve and the eye of the goalkeeper, Patrick McCormick, but he did it ever so well there. He is the son, of course, of the team manager who was himself a goalkeeper, a Thurles Sarsfield's man too, just like the great, the peerless Jimmy Doyle, the last Thurles Sarsfields player to captain a winning minor team. That was as far back as 1957.
Martin, Tobradorn, Pat Short, Big Dishiga, Tutfe score beide, Count Moore father, O Pat Degas, Anna, Torvis van der Raga Poolina, ja, and me all on Tollabul to get Anna Erich, ach Seo Tony Scroop, Dishiga Tony, a shin point to get Tony Scroop.
A lot of significance here for Tipperary today, and of course for Kilkenny too, is how well the two central players are doing for Tipperary. Francis Devaney at centre half forward, which of course is called in the game the 40, and Tony Scroop inside him at full forward.
Martin, Seo Pat Short and Paraville and Count Father, and Willie Polo. Machte Lehechuil and so, the Kilkenny, David Prendergast. Ach, Anna Hongrocht and Devline. Martin Haynes and immer te go na Foley agus Seo Kieran Hine Palace Dinted Kieran Tuxer the Kilkenny.
Kieran Hoyne is the injured player, number 7 for Kilkenny. He, of course, is just one of a number of players here today who come from big hurling families, because the Hoynes are represented in the senior game as well by John. And, of course, Michael Hoyne is a man who might well have been playing in the senior final too, except for a back injury. But he's a young man in his early to mid-20s. He'll be back.
Martin, Dish the Fiji, yeah, the Hurling Unsea. Wiltige PJ Delaney, Count Father, agus Emihe Amu, on Caro Count Cur Amu, and Ish ag Kilkenny, so Chlohigadisa. Anna Yeshenson, again, Raptain, Michael Rice, Wiltige Michael, agus Peter Das, again, Michael Rice and son. The Kilkenny.
And Michal, that's a wonderful score by Michael Rice. There's the Kilkenny captain leading by outstanding example. And earlier we talked about John Tennyson and Richard Power of Carrickshock. Well, Michael Rice is a Carrickshock boy too. And a good one.
Martin, Neil Morgoine Atra. Mohide Roy Counter Mao. Agus Anna Amuich the Sodder, John Tennyson, agus Tony Scroop. Agus Lake, Tobradorn and Counter. Willie Ryan. Har kommer så, ach, like she, a stolum, the Pat Short and Council Hogan. And trio blien, eg a Pat to Gimmert, Lishagunte, Didich, Pemmer Law, eg an Bullboyde, Patrick McCormick. Wilte Ishalig, as Wilte go Hulk. PJ Delaney, Hirach Sarahig, Francis Devaney, Pachtige PJ reached. PJ Analoded. Had the Bliene Gimmert, Lishaguntege, agus am after Ruher, Shane Coonan, Seo Shane, Anna Ruher, Anna Scope, Anna Arshin again, had the Yannick Shane, and Actish Gafol, Anna Yara, what the Stach, agus chance at hole, agus goal, the stick again, Owen Reid, and Lontazach, Anna Ruher, Dinton, agus Shane Coonan.
24 minutes of play gone in the first half. Shane Coonan made a run. It was a brilliant run. Hurling at its thrilling best. The pass was beautiful. The finish was clinical.
Marchen, Kilkenny, Chief Hintergrundtasig. Fitzpatrick, Kirkus. Egy stuk knaplische ganzen und pass gedaste stacheli Willie O'Dwyer, Shehe Willie. Ach, Anna Chossent, diente Eget Tabradon.
Now just watch that pass and the finish off his left side, and the beauty of that score is that these youngsters are so good, right or left. They have the skill to flash the ball into the net, to put the sliotar into the net without thinking whether they should use their right or left. It's whatever their instinct tells them, and that was the key to getting that score.
Dide Hemmergen DJ and Ruha agus an Colo Cogan ach Shehe and Acht Istach Richie Power. Richie Trasna and Hulitza Edirik Allen Healy Reimshow. Bachtige Allen, Illig Giergema, Agus Roy hier beder, Sarah Ege Patrick McCormack, Macha Joe, Lord Napoitke, Agus Keith Nolan and Sunday Kilkenny Cossent, Keith Fevru Wafach, Agus Kurmach Keith, Marchen, Puckschnasse, the Hubradon. Wayne Colley, on the council Hogan. Or the Higadasiga. Agus PJ Delaney, went to the Fiji, Pachta Harnashiga, Agus went to the Horist, Wilta Harnashat Sunagagadi, John Tennyson. Kilkenny, Ganabar, Anna Happig, agus Bachta Gadasatug and Lontasach, Owen Reid, Owen Bultige, Owen Joan, Bodo Beder, Yogi Council, Rashek Gurstahan Linton, Rashek Gurstahan Linton again, Shah Fitzpatrick, Will Batoon, Tubishtuch the Hubradon, Shah Fitzpatrick, agus Colebug.
The last 6 minutes of the first half are proving costly here for Tipperary. It was Owen Reid who sent it in, and just watch the touch. The touch was enough for the goal. The goalkeeper was out. Not much wrong with his positioning as he came to it, but he was a little hesitant then. So it wasn't enough just to come out. He had to be more decisive. Instead, it was the Kilkenny boy who was decisive.
Alan Healy and Lasser Savarachanish. Alan on the gear. Agus Sarah Ege Michael Bergen. Puck Kuiveder agus Chief hit the Kilkenny.
Now, important to point out, of course, that while the senior final will be 35 minutes a half, it's just a half an hour for each one. And there's Kavanagh's arriving with the black and amber. The Kilkenny senior team are arriving. This is always a thrilling moment when the teams arrive for the big game. But that won't worry PJ Delaney from Johnstown Fenians, standing over the 65.
Wilte ige PJ achan council kur roade en hebna lobby dishige agus in tanale hammer Bekil König an hosta leschliha immer gedisa ko. Schneen cooler ist und so agus wilte dasige Fitzpatrick is dachen Linton. Me overach the Patrick McCormack. Here on Hein. Agus Pat Short took us a come on the midway. Machte har nashige ach Puckschnasse the Kilkenny. Here on Hein, agus Anna Choideisha, Lisha Gaunsa. On Lorna Bavod ar a batre yn wyd, and me Eilish, agus yn Bastiantir, and Puck Seir of Gaun, the Hobra Darden. Enormt of Owen Brescia, Edelui, the Dersterlin. Marchen. Deshen Sage, Willie Ryan, Bedre Council, Walla, Joe, the Carnoige. Yanach cool, Anna Vahasinish, the Hobrador, Tana, Lila Hammer. Had a Yannick Willie. Jab, well to Joe the Carno Giga. Agas, Yadin Hoy the Hoil. Ach TJ Delaney, Aguana and Clifford. Trasnanson, Agas a Trasna, Keith Nolan. Machtige Keith the Tachtamach. Wolle das Fachtige, Korogo Hege. Anna Skilula, Fadige Keith, the Raigidi, Michael Rice, a Shin Anna Skill. Ach Spachtige Dasige, Derek Bork, Mehewege reached. Macha Joe, Lord of Portke. Hobradorn, good say that Hoy. Skoid, Rivla Hammer, and Ido Glow. On Farlaw Portke, Conor O'Mahony, Hagimers Tussahe. Woodtestach, Shahe John Tennyson. They hide the Banel Chinchil, Tax. Francis Devaney, a Hosnik Gama, Ach TJ, a Gimmert, Anava, Let Hamelin, Tarna Kaharu.
So the Kilkenny team have just arrived, as we told you. Well, now the players are alighting from the coach. They're collecting their gear. They're going in. Kilkenny in a stylish new off-field strip this year. There will be tension there, of course, but as some people have observed over the weekend, it's a fantastic kind of tension. It's where the players really feel the buzz as they come into the ground now. And of course, Kilkenny particularly will be anxious to hear, just as they come in, how the miners are doing, because the Kilkenny hurling fraternity, they're one big family.
Agus Nadog Shetik and Multoid so Agus Kilkenny Gamor and Ochter, the Heilige on Dahol, a Reimschieder, Agus Shin Own Reed, Farfoot Kaunuka, Agus Anna Host, the Fatla Shin and Skorik Lahama, Kilkenny no shade, Tobradorn, not the shade.
I suppose Tipperary were favourites this year after winning it the year before, but you know, Galway played very, very well last year, and I suppose we were poor in the day, so we want to put it right this year.
When you do lose a couple of times, maybe you begin to doubt yourself and doubt whether you're good enough again to get back there, and particularly to see you don't get a run in the championship. You're beaten in the first round, and that's it. You're out of it first Sunday in June, and it's an awful long 12 months to wait for another match. So from that perspective, there would be doubts coming into your mind, but fortunately this year with the back door we got the second chance at it, and it's worked out well for us.
Yes, some of those involved in the Senior All-Ireland coming up at 3:30 here in our coverage. And just a reminder also that you will be picking the man of the match in this year's Clare Kilkenny All-Ireland Hurling Final. And those are the numbers to ring. It's 1550 717114 from the Republic, 0906 614 2048 if you're making that call from Northern Ireland. But it's the minor final between Kilkenny and Tipperary that we're concentrating on. So far here on the programme, that's the situation at half-time. Kilkenny lead by 2-6 to 6 points of Tipperary's. They've had 8 frees in the first half, 4 for Tip, 6 wides against 2 to Tip, and also there's been just the 1 yellow card against Tipperary, and that against their wing forward, Pat Short. Gerald Nan and Pete Finnerty has been watching that match with me. 2 goals for Kilkenny have set them up in this game, Gerard, but a body blow to Tipperary as well.
Real body blow, because they were playing really well up to then, especially that defence was absolutely outstanding. And then Shane Coogan gets this ball. It reminds you of what happened with DJ just a few weeks ago. He just bursts through the centre. He changes pace here now again, just like DJ. A pass to a man in the very same position, Owen Reid, and he buries it in the net. How often times do Kilkenny do that to teams? Just when everything seems going against them, they can produce goals like that. It was a brilliant run and a fantastic finish.
Second goal.
Now the second goal was Owen Reid this time set up the ball, long ball across, and Chad Fitzpatrick comes in. Now it's easy to blame the goalie there, but the goalie, look at him, he keeps his eye on the ball, he thinks he's going to catch it, and Fitzpatrick buries it in the net. Maybe the cornerback should have held off his man and not let himself free, but Fitzpatrick's a brilliant player. He scored 4 points the last day. He has 1-1 got already. Dangerous forwards on both sides, and he's only now that begin to show how good they are.
Those goals, as I said, have hurt Tipperary, but they were a little bit unfortunate themselves, Pete, that they didn't get a goal, a save, a fortuitous save, but a good save nonetheless from the Kilkenny goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's goals that win matches, and we saw the Kilkenny were really struggling in the game, and the goal brought them back into it. And here we see Tipperary at a time when they needed a goal. We see Tony Scott coming in across the centre, ball pulled on, but again a great save by Colin Grant in the Kilkenny goal. But I'm looking at the Tipperary team, and we have Pat Short who scored 5 goals in championship to date. We have Willie Ryan, who was notorious in the full forward line the last day, and they're all playing out the field. They might look at moving them into the full forward line in the second half, because really Kilkenny, you can see another goal or two in them, and Tipperary to get back into the game will have to get a green flag or get a few early scores on the board, and having the likes of Pat Short playing well at midfield, you'd be more of an advantage playing well at corner forward or at full forward.
Well, that's it, Pete. They have a 6-point disadvantage to turn around in that second half. The entertainment goes on here at Croke Park. We take a break. We're back very shortly.
It's a massive occasion. We didn't get there last year. We were all disappointed. I was actually in New York the time it happened. The All-Ireland was on, and I was gutted that morning just watching in the video with Ken McGrath over there. So just delighted to be back. The whole occasion is brilliant.
It would be great for Sarah, and it would be great for all the lads involved with the panel, you know. So Kilkenny will have a lot to say about that, but hopefully, you know, we're hoping for a good day, really.
Back ready for the second half then. Just a reminder to you that it's Kilkenny leading Tipperary by 2-6 to 6 points at half-time. We're getting ready for the start of the second half. We'll go back again to our commentary team of Micheál O'Shea and Jim Carney.
Gurmagov agus an multóir am halár na páirce agus an dá éireann i tír gáilinis chun aige húrt an tarnala iad a fneachtas an Manacúil chun an áite ágantitsa agus Diarmuid Kerwinitson agus a déanamh an a job godísa. Húl ag Kilkenny an bhearna is na sé pointe sníon bhearna há atra agus seachúin an tarnala Habradár na súl gnéanana siad níos fearr beidir sa tarnala ach seohé Keith Nolan na Kilkenny a gurir an ónsaí Stacha Joe an chúine an son agus Derek Burke Derek an stitar áil fachtaige Derek léana bhróig bhí sé fé bhrú agus anna bhrúach chuir ag Kilkenny gura Sean Fitzpatrick an farfuid a cúl agus pointe leanna chuis agus dis ag Richie Powell an chiad scór a gáil sa tarnala.
Well, it's interesting, Micheál, that Richard Power seems to have got into centre half forward now, and that Willie O'Dwyer, the Kilkenny number 11, has gone to the wing, and of course he's taking David Morrissey away from centre half back, and that might not necessarily be a good thing for Tipperary, that such a strong, sturdy, well-bit lad like Morrissey has gone from the centre.
Martin Richie an miadóise an bhearna an meid seach cín atra den giadúid bhuilte a Richie agus tá seach pointe atra den giadúid. Martin Paddy McCormick Patrick McCormick ach pachta go das a lárpáidce ag Michael Rice Captain agus déanamh chuda Padraig Holden an heach Martin Tracy i teachtamach ach imimach harise de bliine agus pucslasa de Kilkenny. Ron Hine Stachel Ashley agus Halí stiamta a gosal chosantóid Habradán mar sin pocamach a bheith ann de Habradán. Patrick McCormick inis be sé dír ag inas bleagach an dullar in ónsaí a bearna réasúnta mór atra ach ní fáil go héire. Agus seohé Francis Devaney an a rúthar ag Francis an airóig get son le Willie Ryan ig airóig Keith Nolan agus á dheachantlis Evan Sweeney agus Calís dianta Keith Nolan.
Well, Keith Nolan is a name to think about here, and a boy to watch for the future, because he was outstanding at left half back for Kilkenny in their very exciting semi-final victory over Galway. He has switched to the right wing today, but he's as good right and left, and that again is in the Kilkenny tradition. Now Francis Devaney made a run there for Tipperary, but again the Kilkenny defence were strong and were sturdy, and they cleared the ball out. And just like Michael Bergen of Tipperary won 3 good defensive balls in the first half, the Kilkenny full-back line are doing their duties now.
Captain Kilkenny, Michael Rice. Did get the chuir an ónsaí ach fachta ansa ag David Morrissey. Fachta go das an son ag Willie O'Dwyer, bhfuilte ar nas go dtí Keith Nolan ó Hamróga Wiley Hale Agana Havoil sticks the Hune and Son again Martin Trasicha. Johan Tarna Deshiga Martin. Wilte Roada Harsha Devline again Trasi. Martin Anna Skiller Faden Sonige Agus Shakuin. Michael Royce on captain. Shach Binte Atra, Achan Ili Gierenso, Michael. Wiltige Dassige, Stacha Joe, Lashley. Utamal Björger de Dalav, Agus Hepter John Bolandetson, Agus Deshna Kilkenny, Achshohe Francis Devaney, Cossent. Drachown, Agus Deshenso, again Cha Fitzpatrick, Wiltige Cha, Agus and Varnamir, the Huggerty Ochpointe.
Well, this is the point in the game now where Tipperary fans must fear the consequences of allowing Tipperary Kilkenny get early scores in the second half, because we saw what the Kilkenny seniors did to Tipperary the last day when they got 2 points inside 45 seconds. Well, here today the Kilkenny minors are just repeating that. Early scores against a team who trailed at half-time by 6 points.
Derek Burke, Shahet, Cha Fitzpatrick reached. Wiltige Cha, Stacha Lashley. Well, vi en tale, Tobradorden, går Bertekaun. Agus, ni reidig, le David Morrissey, and Schlitter Chodevaras, Deshelige. Agus, Shahet, David Kennedy. David, de Machter Ruher. Shahet, David. Mac Jahar, the Jan, Agus, Puxer, Gnohege.
Well, perhaps that might provide inspiration to Tipperary. David Kennedy there from Clanulty Rossmore, a nephew of John Kennedy, outstanding Tipperary hurler of the 1980s. He made a charge there. That's what they need. But of course, they also need scores. We saw Francis Devaney back defending just a few minutes ago from centre half forward. He had to go back obviously to win the ball, but it just showed you early in the second half how difficult it was for Tipperary to wrest the initiative back from the young boys in black and amber.
Agus David Shepherd tak Edebord, Evan Sweeney imihe. Agus Willie Ryan chan on Puxa a Hogant. Wiltige Willie. Jonah Carno ige agus a move. On trio count Kuramu ige Tobradon. Schnensane, David Shepherd, the Honig Edebord. Agus Evan Sweeney imihe. Kilkenny agus Rutherash in Ishlo, Solasalay, Gaulish, Idiotin, agus Tobradorden, agus Shahe, on Clogodarag, Katibuig, John Boland, agus Puxlasse, Letogentige, agus on Toyerachanson or Kilkenny. Agus Evan Danahos of us, Agus, Anna Ruher, Agus, Anna Yeshige, Kilkenny, Dollar don't see, Michael Rice, a captain, Stachalash, Harish Ditson, Martin Tracy, it's an odd cat, it's an on cat. Shahe, Richie Powell, Agus, Puxair, the Hobrador.
Well, it's interesting that Shane Coonan from the St. Martin's Club made another thrilling run there for Kilkenny. And of course, in the first 20 minutes of this game, we felt that it hadn't reached the standard of the semi-final between Kilkenny and Galway. It's more difficult, of course, in the final where there's more tension. Perhaps it's easier in a semi-final to play free-flowing hurling and to give more free expression to your talents. But then, in the 24th minute, one flash of hurling genius from Shane Coonan and that run. Well, he made another one just a moment ago, but no goal came off that one.
Martin Tobradorden agus score tastalwaha a lot na huide Trevor Ivers the bitter bolastach and mehe wig I said a core kofol tag shot on a talon Rage counts stach pop hugveder agus tiefe hit kuramach again gossen toid.
And just for newcomers to the game of hurling who will be watching videos, watching this game, watching videos around the world, the rule of course is when a defending player puts the ball out over his own line, well, there's a free to the opposition. It used to be from the 70, that was 70 yards. It's now called a 65 because it's 65 metres. In this case maybe about 64 and a half or so.
Conor O'Mahony, chat, couple of look lashtig. Las واحد ويه خده بولتيجا كانر بولتيجا كمسخة كانر أخا ميالش إمه إريش on Carrow Count Kuramu again Tobrador.
Galway, of course, missed a couple of 65 long-range frees in the semi-final. They were costly. Tipperary can't afford to miss them here.
Goeie Schulte, Kilkenny, Marschen a lot in the Huede. Agassi at the end of Gadiel, so Bohe Canashitza. On Stitter Fachtetza, get Conor O'Mahony. Agus Padraig Holden. Back to the Padraig. And Bert Nochur, a Machatsugadi, Keith Nolan. Kademar Hossan Toir, Dunsko. Ach, Puckschlasse, Evegan de Hobradorn. Michael Bergen, Honey Council Hogan, Timmershelle, Guidem Skull in the Hobradorn. Boyga Ilevera. Heat Nolan reached. Loich Cossanta, Kilkenny. Ganena go. Derek Bork, Agus Owen Reid, Lechele. Agus Hook Weather Agus Chief Headed Ed Moyer. Niha Ed on Cossanta. Dagin Ahara Hagen Moyer. Golem Gunichan Cast Agus Agin Aharo.
The Tipperary lads may be trailing and they may be in some difficulty on the scoreboard, but they haven't lost heart, they haven't lost their spirits, and they showed it there.
Kieran Hine, Vanna Line, agus Alan Healy, agus Martin Tracy, Bachtige Martin, ach Sarhige Alan. Sure Alan. Schliedian to get in, count down chair, putting in Chaffetz Patrick, Cola again, Chaffetz Patrick, Cola with a do.
Well, lovely touch here, lovely balance as that ball was flashed in by Alan Healy. And from a Tipperary point of view, the wrong man had it, but from a Kilkenny point of view, the right man had it. This is Chaffetz Patrick's day.
Do again Chaffetz Patrick Godisa. Loich score all Kilkenny. Agus an Kennedy and son David Shepherd. Kalish Dinter shoot. Kalish Dinter get. Agus Foxair, the Hobradorn. Willie Ryan, a Hokage Council. Nish an Mulishen Council, Jonah Carnoige, they're cool at Tasdal with her. Peter Ganenach. Willie Ryan, Bultige, I say a 2-2 score, ach Mialish. Kuramu, dan Gugu Bauta, again Hobradorn. Neil Rinara, Lena Gadirachti.
Now balance was the key to that as the Kilkenny left full forward got that ball in, and Chaffetz Patrick, of course, he was deadly quick and so clinical in his finishing.
Martin, Solasaloy, Idron the Fordne, Agus Kilkenny, Ediana Vidaus, and so Satarnala, Raimach Mother Varas Monaco, Owen Reid, down Hechan Talon, Agus Bintero, again David Kennedy. David Inish in the Anasher Ruharele, Lena Kitowi. After Gadasson, I get Tony Scroop, Shahe Tony. Tony, I guess, Anna Ruharaya, and again. John the Hatslot, what to get a patch shot? Oh, no. On son, better knowledge. Agus Foxair, Ritawid. Ach, Solom Gamek Focal again, Moltoid. This year. David Prendergast, I guess, so Thomas Fitzgerald, the Tachan Poitke, a Corta Buida, Trevor Ivers, a fog in the Poitke, who's Gargameg, Agus Thomas Fitzgerald, RT Tacht, Eddie Boyd, the Hobradorn, Schneanson, Thomas, Agus Trevor Ivers, a Vega fog in the Poitke. Trevor, that no be in the Venur and Nidik. Shahent had the Blenige in the Venur, Achnilena, and no late Tussahe Hobradorn. Marsin, Willie Ryan, Wood to go Heishel, go Croke Gecha, Meharasha Tasnan, Coolvy Wig, at 24.
Well, Willie Ryan put a low trajectory on that ball. He may well have been aiming for the top corner of the net there, but it flew just the wrong side of the crossbar from his point of view. Now it's goals that Tipperary need, but will Kilkenny let them?
Agus is Dakar de Shadun Kurbeshin and Hit score egg Tobra Dardens at Hanala. Agus Tobra Darden dierig Ahru Eligenov, Brendan O'Sullivan, T Tachan Toitke, Harvey Rauna Hidarno, Agus Shohe. Wayne Colley, a fog in the Toitke, Agus Shlia Yanovage, the Brendan O'Sullivan. Marsin and Emertilano today, Greherasha Goni, Kilkenny, yet in the Richard Lanatsug as Kali Shelle, Dienta and Son, Ed, Michael Rice, Tuxayer, the Kilkenny.
Well, a lot of frustration creeping into Tipperary's play now as we come up the midway point of the second half. That's understandable when you think that they trail by 8 to 7 points. They haven't quite done themselves justice here today, Tipperary. They're very, very talented. We're in the past couple of years as well, and they'll always be a force in minor, but really they just have to concede the ground today to a vastly superior force in this Kilkenny team. The likes of Richard Power as he puts that ball over the bar majestically. Brilliant skill by Richard Power.
Marsin Kilkenny dierig an da choran a húrt a bhaile loha tra hona nocht. As Gosuil go bhfuil Eirhilo und Hiet Kjaun a bhuchtint, mar ha anna bhearna atra, solas alai atra lahar na huide. Agus gan éon ánar géile ach Shohed, Tobra Darden, a dierig dollar in Ulsaí, John Boland, ach an bheartianted, haulir a bhile. Nachtastach agus anna ruhar a gana agus Shane Coonan Baltavan agus Corrada bhile go feldfach.
And interesting that it was Shane Coonan again, the left half forward, his third exciting run of this game. The first, of course, led to the goal that really was the decisive score, because from that goal in the 24th minute of the first half, Tipperary were chasing the game. Coonan made another brilliant run earlier in the second half, and now he's made a run that has led to a yellow card for a Tipperary boy.
Corta boy the David Kennedy, agus Dish ige Richie Power. On bhearna a bhíadú níos a bhófós agus cad é mar bhearna ha ána chaise se crín cumasach pointile the Richie Powell.
Well, what a proud day it is for Richie Power Senior and his family from Carrickshock in Kilkenny to see young Richard out there doing his stuff in thrilling style today.
Annach Wall Sanair and son again, Stephen Maher, agus Tuxayer, Gnohige, Bered, agus an Moltoid, go Mahos Cunavili, Marabisa Royle, Dermot Kirwan, Ediana Vedaus, Richie Power, Last Mother Lord the Poitke, Fiona Carnoig, agus Chancellor Sahuna, Alan Healy, Umpu Temple. Agus Guide Show printed as Alan Healy.
Beautiful point by the pacey Alan Healy. He certainly deserved that score. He's worked very hard today, and in the semi-final he was one of the stars too, without scoring a lot. But the Kilkenny style there, what they say about DJ Carey, that he can lean one way and deliver the ball the other. We saw just a bit of that style there from Alan Healy.
Dermot Corcoran take ahead of board the Tobra Darden agus John Boland imihe. Marsin Tobra Darden hen bhá a Gimmertuku agus Shohe Willie Ryan, Anna Amani agus Berer Ganzi and Willie agus sin Tuxair the Hobrador. Get Kilkenny gehaald, Champions Group Berer Ganzi ach Bersherli Road Ferro is dat er Ferro in Chekalish. Martin Hobradorn, Cossent Gama, Erik Cossent Gama, Stikse Groene, Michael Bergen. Ach, could va Ishke, Likke Hishtach against the cool hit Vidisa, Nilian Aurus, Marjala Shin, Francis Devaney, Hosna Gabby Gama, would to Stach John Groene. Ach, Shin, Marfossen to get Kilkenny, Gagaswell, Inspirada. Yet the Gimmer to House at Fad, Anna has bought the Safad, a Hotwaha. And Baltison, John Tennyson, Darno, John Groene, Shahek here on Hein. Ja, er går heen og kan kan de parke Kilkenny. Konsentoidi tussen laat parke. Ja, der fader gimmert gedien. Agus.
Now we have just 1 hour to the big game, of course, between Kilkenny and Clare. We're awaiting the arrival of the Clare team. Kilkenny are here, and of course they'll be thrilled with the performance of their minors, whose skill level in particular is coming more and more to the fore now as they really take over here.
Stephen Maher, Stachel Ashley, agus Eddie Gon Reid I'm show, Wiltige on, agus well, that's the fall, at the end of a row, Rod Gowdish, a lot of the win.
An opportunity perhaps to spare a thought for one of the greatest hurlers of all time, Eddie Kerr of Kilkenny. Back in 1959, he played in the minor final here, even though he didn't win a medal that day. The senior game then finished in a draw. A couple of weeks after that, Eddie was brought in to play in the senior final replay. So he played for Kilkenny, minor and senior, in the one final, the one set of finals, although on different days. What a wonderful achievement it was.
Tony's group from Achterstach, Schansige, and Willie Schans me Hawaha, Lord Nahuidi, Anna Hossant, Keith Nolan, Bevru, Reberimish. Well, Anna Horukat Father Gossantodi Kilkenny. Pat Short, de Gridi Hilachni, Lori Hillen over there, Bedisa Edechoma. Keith Nolan, Agasa Yakantish, David Shepherd, Anish Taktagaudid, Stephen Maher, Pat Short, Matleshistach, Agas Kalishele, and Pat Short, Reich, Animele, and Laura Voltora. Nilian Aurus Nagawil, Kilkenny and Wachter, or Young Count the Parke. Agus Costa Boy, Nochterhead, and Gapta in, Kilkenny and Faravik, and Hoy, Hodin, Skilla Aiden, Seshaklohe, Shahe, Willie Ryan, and Willie Council, Ishel, Bedaganina. Willie Ryan, Gohishel, Dahajo, Emil the Carnoige. Butchestach agus Butchestach and Linton, Vin Coulson the Tastal, and son of David Morrissey, and Lacholi Lloyd, Shatastalo, Hobradorn.
Well, a goal that may be no more than a consolation score, but it does show the spirit of Knocknagow. When that ball broke there, David Morrissey it was who flashed it into the net. Good finish. There were a lot of black and amber jerseys there, all right, but they could do nothing. Numbers didn't count. It was a flashing drive to the back of the net.
John Tennyson agus Córlai Shachorad istige mi alavoide agus darno ag de hoide de panel chinchit koma ach san achtrasan a gorticha.
Well, certainly that goal was not the fault of John Tennyson. As Michal said earlier, he was inspirational a few minutes ago when he won a great ball in the air. Happily, he's recovered.
Riot gan of job in it. Barca Croke agus is Taisha Hanache and Sahino. So play Canish. What the other point, agus a ha and then odds down. Agus Kilkenny get a goal heen, Stephen Maher. Stachat Joe the Carnoige. Owen Reid agus John Machtanarda noch hinne, Derek Burke, Martientige, Darhabradorn. Shohe Brendan O'Sullivan, a Hanik Kantoike o Hienevin, agus Ruhistach, David Shepherd. Bachtige, be Thomas Fitzgerald am echtesteach, Sarhe, ege Kieran Hain. Shahe Kieran, agus, well, Chadayaman Hossant, I guess the quit. Banatevlin, agus Ranga Counts the Mach, Puckschnasse, the Derek Burke.
Well, wonderful defensive play there by Kieran Hoyne. He might just have been a little bit disappointed by his own performance in the semi-final, but he's really played well here today. That was great defensive play, very determined. Well, talking about earlier on about Eddie Kerr, one of the all-time greats of the game. Another, of course, is the great Jimmy Doyle of Tipperary. He holds a record. He played in 4 consecutive minor finals in the 50s. He won 3 medals in a row. Wonderful record, and we think of him as well today. Eddie Kerr and Jimmy Doyle, 2 true gentlemen of the game.
Agus dar no David Kennedy on Shanahe Hannah Shoot Shne Uncle Jimmy Doyle Tommy Doyle and Robert Mann Hogedisted ach Shahid Kilkenny agus sé de Gorle Head Alan Healy agus Pointe Elefos again Alan Healy.
Well, this is a flowering of the full skill of Kilkenny hurling. Alan Healy turning, twisting, again as I said about DJ Carey, leaning one way and shooting the other.
On Carter Father got Blahu Cast Takahe Ed Immert Kilkenny Gad Anach Nasta Anach Tichnoil Anach Humasuk Anach Skill Stephen Maher David Kennedy and Fargaram with the Kainte, the Stackary Francis Devaney, Nianashe Ruher, Francis Bultige Shoe the Nishkudi, Thomas Fitzgerald, Thomas Ishalana Hava again, Stiggy Colin Grant, Agus John Tennyson, the Tachtamach Lehe. Puckschlasse, the Vegaun, the Kilkenny.
Well, nothing wrong with the drive. It was hard. Admittedly, it went straight at the keeper, but he did have to stand his ground. He had to be brave there. Good positional play and a terrific save by Colin Grant from Emerald. And of course, in the senior final, his club will be represented by Derek Ling. So everybody down there in that club, they'll be so proud today of Derek Ling, but also of Colin Grant.
Agus Willie O'Dwyer a Hyundai to get Sosa Hurta, Agus Desha Hurta, Robbie Dowling, Ege Kilkenny. Well, in Rinara, le Tobradon Marvisara, agus Shahe Alan Healy, Bautavanelle, Achas Kumelish, Mariala Gans, and the Kuremu, Negin Kuramuga, Kilkenny Gadison, Ashes Asta, Tagurum Diantaka. Kieran Hine. Agus Shahe David Kennedy. Stachenzo Goody. Thomas Fitzgerald. Thomas agus Eddie Gihel o Hanne Shechen Portke mar on the agus Shin Bulta Gadas Stachage Goody. Willie Ryan. Went to the Willie. Kieran Hine. Shahe Stak Kieran the Diana Anachit Cossata. Agus Puck Agus Chief hit to
the significant there, I think, that piece of play featured Willie Ryan, because Willie Ryan from Tumibara, he certainly is one man who has done his utmost to rally Tipperary here today. A couple of very good frees earlier on, but from play as well, he tried his heart out and he's now playing himself to a standstill, but unfortunately it's in a losing cause. The Shin Vihil Neil Parkin Ishak 3 Nomad, Agus Bernamore Black and Amber in the Naforna.
Tahan Carter Father good agus the Hogabay Michael Rice, the Yoga Coronode Gram with the Fiachanted, Coron Skilla Aiden. Bobradon, Hanagasta Hurstoi, Pose in Eagle. EJ Delaney. Agus Skipper here on Dollar, Marshin Deshige, Bobradon, Dull Edenunsi. Tony Screw, Pushtacha Jonah Carnoige, Kadele Kadianakshe. Halish, Agus Foxair, Agus Stohar East, Kadurishet Fehol. Hodge Kennedy of Titach and Podke, the Kilkenny, Agus Sosa Holt, the Fiji Delaney, Agus Bullabats, the Fiji. a chiandianta ga siúd. Marsin, Willie Ryan agus dócha go dúra sé fé chúl. Ní hen chawda Coolini fen drása. Séisiir a stig sa bháide ó heftaibh. Agus se he Willie, chan dút fé chúl. Sgad an áda hiige, bhfuilte go hísin agus sárathe go deasansan ag Richie Power. Ní dead it le Tabradáin fós agus sárathe ar náis ó hamáil sa chéile. Well, tá siad sásta tríos an éid sin. Bhí a giondiantar a misisiúna ar échama. Víte Kilkenny go glórach a láthar na huide, an me siad chó glórach an ag chunta a chláid, Francis Devaney. Agus an Tinnadaí an san, da Kilkenny, Podge Kennedy. Amach go dtí Fitzpatrick. Well, skill Michael Rice an captain, Michael Macleish, Wiltige Michael. Báidiú idir teachtamach. Patrick McCormick. Ach tá siúr tímpla, cehar tímpla. Agus Shane Coonan, deis agus Shane ar ára dhéanamh, pointe agus Shane Coonan.
No more than Shane Coonan deserved after those thrilling runs from left half forward. But just watch what happened here. Richard Power, a forward and a wonderful forward. He was back to defend, not once, but twice. And that, I think, will be one of the big memories to take away from this game. Richard Power making 2 saves. That, of course, that point by Shane Coonan, and, of course, the goal in the 24th minute that settled this issue.
Agus tá Shane Cadigan takeach an fád gyda Kilkenny, David Prendergast susta go hiro, agus ahrú a dhéanamh go Kilkenny go Tabradáin chomá, a láthar na huide, tá Paddy Ryan teach an fád go Tabradáin, agus David Morrissey imihin. Marsin cúigir an adithe ar a bád go Tabradáin a láthar na huide. Na máitir fan imre, ach sehe ón Reid, deisige ón an bhar na bhéadú níos a bhófós, búltige ón agus Counson Curamú ag Kilkenny, ach rá nómad breise ar a luid, ar a Multúrlin. Sin an án breise hana hénig. Paddy Ryan agus gan é an áilis, teistach an fáidge. Michael Bergen. Anna chóngracht an Devlin agus mehemach Pat Short a déanamh a dhíhil ach an bhartíanta go Kilkenny. Breis agus dúban scóide chud ar nó a láthar na huide agus beidir leanómad fácha don án breise. Padraig Holden. Michael Rice an captain. Grai met chluisin chuidin Sarafada agus Calais déantar Michael Rice. Sné Michael an captain.
Some attention now from Michael Rice from Carrickshock, the Kilkenny captain. He really has been inspirational in the middle of the field. And PJ Delaney, who went off just a little bit earlier on to have a rest and give one of the subs a run, when he settled into the game after being troubled early on by Francis Devaney, when he settled into it at centre half back, that too was a telling factor in the outcome of this game.
Richie Power agus leanómad le chuise dáinómad a mé heach ceanna leanna chuoine fád ag Richie's cumasach an Tamánia. Sinna tanna le can sprice tá Multúid, Diarmid Kerwin if fiechan deireadh a dóid agus sinna Jim.
There's the full-time whistle. Kilkenny are the All-Ireland minor hurling champions on a scoreline of 3 goals and 15 points to Tipperary's 1 goal and 7. No doubt we'll see many of these Tipperary minors, brilliant minors, back as senior stars of the future, but we'll see them from Tipperary too. In the next game you'll see DJ Carey, he was a brilliant minor, but so too was John Redden of Clare, who captained them to win players only minor title, so the minors will come through. At least a good many of them will. The final score, after a brilliant display by Kilkenny, hard luck to Tipperary. 3 goals and 15 points to Tipperary's 1 goal and 7.
Yeah, I think some of those Kilkenny players are more likely to hurt themselves in the after-match celebration than they were during the game. Fine win then for Kilkenny in that minor final. Ger Loughnane and Pete Finnerty have been watching the game with us. We have the presentation coming up very shortly here, of course. But Ger Loughnane, that was a class performance really against what that seemed to be a good Tipperary team.
Well, we expected a great game here. Now, it was a great display for Kilkenny, but not from Tipperary, because they were just totally outclassed in the game. And we spoke about 3 Kilkenny forwards before the game, but as a matter of fact, you could have mentioned 6 Kilkenny forwards, because Shane Coonan on the wing, Alan Healy in the corner, and what a display from Chad Fitzpatrick at corner forward. And of course, we all expected Richie Power to do something like he did today. Yeah. Brilliant display, but all the great attributes of Kilkenny hurling. Winning the ball in the air, great skill, delivering the ball into the open spaces, taking points, all in evidence there today. You know, fantastic display from them.
Just to cut across you for a second, Ger, I think you know some of the lads getting out this bus right now.
And as usual, they're late. You know, I suppose they were getting worried down in the tunnel there to see whether they're coming at all. But they always arrive around 20 to 3:15.
Yeah.
Don't like staying too long in the dressing room, and they won't be in there very long until we see them back out in the field.
Pat Fitzgerald, the county secretary, just going through the picture there. Some of the lads were telling me in your day you didn't rush them or push them to tog out or anything like that in any particular hurry. You let lads do their own thing.
Yeah, just let them in and let them tog out in their own time, and just to make sure that about 5 minutes before you're due to go out that you all congregate inside in the warm-up area, because really all the preparations are done now. What you say in the dressing room is going to go over their head. It's just a matter of getting them in, getting them ready, and those last-minute instructions before they go out in the field. They'll be in there long enough.
Okay, Ger, well, Dr. Clifford is in his speech at the moment. We were inclined to know, Dr. Clifford, that these things can go on a little bit before he actually hands over the cup. But we just will stay with this thing for the moment. But I'm sure also, Pete Finnerty, you were very impressed with some of these Kilkenny minors. And fellas like Richie Power, you were just saying a minute ago, we'll be seeing on other days here. He is, of course, a minor again next year.
Yeah, it was a fantastic display. It's a very balanced team, and they have the good players in the right positions. John Tinson at full-back, PJ Delaney at centre back, and of course you have Power and Fitzpatrick. He's a spectacular little player. The goal that he got there in the second half just showed in front of the corner forward, and again on his left hand side finished it. Pure class. Jerry and myself were saying, like, Kilkenny can produce this quality hurler. He doesn't have to labour to hurl. He just has the finer touches, and he seems to make the right decisions, and he waits until the correct moment until he gets a shot at goal. It was a classical display, and I'm sure we're going to see an awful lot of those players here at senior level in the future.
We continue to see some of the Clare players arrive, and you see yourself some of them already in the shorts, sort of, I suppose, half prepared in terms of the gear anyway for the big match coming up. Right, well, the presentation continues to go on behind us, and Dr. Clifford still has the cup. He's guarding it very closely. He's very reluctant to give it to Michael Rice, but Michael Rice will be accepting that cup very, very shortly. Let's go back again to the presentation.
Is an haptein fast Kiroin, Wig fast Holmaner, le 21 and over Sale, Achton Corran, is ounce and a free in the begin.
It's more on Lasha, the winter Kilkenny, and Shostawalla, August Harlar. Tom Kern, Irish Press, Egdolawalla, the Kilkenny, Horace Name, Nina Fada, August Anna, Sorin Glare. I thank our manager, Mickey Cashin, his 4 selectors, Brother Damien Brennan, Joe Dunphy, Tony Marr, and Brian Waldron. I thank Joe Pike, the chairman of the board of officials, Dr. Bill Cuddy and his medical team. I would like to thank each and every member of this panel for the huge effort they have put in. I would like to thank my own club, Carrickshock, for giving me this great honour. Finally, I would like to thank Tipperary for a fine sporting game. And 3 cheers for Tipperary. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! I would like to wish Kilkenny the best of luck in the next game. Garimila Mahagrid. Well done again.
Captain Kilkenny, Michael Rice, Shigara Multa, the Hubradorn, Agus Corran, Skila Aaron, Ordahe, Leshige.
Yeah, very nice speech there from Michael Rice, the Kilkenny captain. And so then, as he queued us up for, that's our preparation for the senior game. It's Clare against Kilkenny. All that in the build-up to the senior match coming up after the commercial break.